Rebel. Babe, can you see that? Snapchat, Instagram, Uchikila.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Her Hour. Today I'm joined by our other host,
yes.
co-host, and we're joined by another special guest. I'll let him introduce himself. So you know my name is Jordan, obviously.
Yes, and I'm Vera.
And I'm Tafadzwa, your guest for today.
Yes.
Right.
Tafadzwa who?
Mukahadzi.
Okay, right. So in this episode we're basically discussing education. So yeah, it's called Let Me School You. Let Us School You.
Yes.
So yeah, I think let's just get right into it.
Yeah. Maybe you can just tell everyone like what you do. A brief. Profile. Yes.
Well, I'm an educational consultant, which is mostly handling children, and trying to get them onto their perfect learning path, trying to discover who they are, what's their best learning ability, trying to shy away from the usual educational system that we have, and just to build them along those lines.
Right.
At the same time, trying to build teachers as well, upskill them, because we have a deficiency on that side as well. I think we'll talk about that later on.
So my question, obviously I have a question.
Right there,
my question
off the
is,
bat.
what makes you qualified to feel like you can impart this knowledge onto someone?
Oh, all right. Besides me having a degree in education on it,
That's what
I'm
I was
also a Google certified educator. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in Zimbabwe at the moment. So
Great.
that's pretty something. Yeah, but we've done a lot of years looking into it, research, done a lot of camps, and I'm an enthusiast about it. And I've imparted on a whole lot of children, and it's making myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made you want to go into education?
Here's a funny thing. I was actually at school after A-level. Didn't get the greatest number of points, got 6, and then everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna be a dunderhead. Nothing's gonna happen for you."
The story is all this time.
Yeah, it's always like gloom and doom, paint picture. I'm like, I didn't want to. I just did this combination because I felt like I needed something to do with a little bit of maths, accounts, computers.
Right.
Then in varsity, we're in there. In education, so we're being told, no, if you get a certain CGPA, a cumulative grade point average, you know, onto that. So you can get to another faculty, so I can go do accounting.
Okay.
I got the points, and the dean is like, no, you're staying here in education, you're a top student, you can't go. I was angry, but then, as I went through it, then when we went for attachment, actually getting in front of children, actually talking to them, then I realized, oh, no. There's actually a big, humongous problem that we have with the current education system. And I wanted to change that because I felt like I was aggrieved, like, from what I felt, and then I wanted to get into that.
Right. I hear that.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for him?
Yes.
What did you want to say? Sorry.
So I ended up just getting into that, and after speaking to those kids and having that eureka moment in front of me, I just felt that, this is my calling and I should further that.
That's cool.
I think for me, like, the one thing I just really want to get into is like the education system. Like, from what you've just said, is that like you had the situation where you got 6 points or whatever, and like there's always that thing where that gloom and doom speech is given to you, and then like I feel like like A-level, yes, it's important. School is important. I will always advocate for that. But like, I feel like sometimes we're so hung up on, oh, you got 16 points, or you got 3 points, or you got whatever points, and then then the kids go into like a depression. Like, I have siblings, I have cousins who didn't get the best points at A-level, but like they're working in like the science field, like they're working in medicine, they're working like they're accountants, they own businesses and things like that. And I think, does the education system need to change? Like, do we need to stop caring so much that, at A-level we've gotten 15 points, or at O-level they have 7 A's, 6 B's and 2 C's or whatever? Like, do we need to stop caring about that stuff and now just, I don't know, redirect our attention, especially when it comes to the education system?
Right.
I think what you're saying is very on point. Let's remove, we're not saying education is bad, but let's remove the focus on results. Yes, the end result is not it, because like we've witnessed, a lot of these children are just now cramming and getting those A's, but the actual application and what they're using it for zilch.
Yeah.
Right.
So we need to move from a result-oriented based curriculum, as per se, and then trying to look at it from a perspective where can we apply what they're actually learning within their communities. Like from where you're coming from, how best is your education helping where you're coming from?
Yeah.
I'll start with simple things from your home.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to be in primary school doing home economics, being told how to knit, sew, iron, practice it at home.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you're giving back to your parents, giving back to your home.
True.
And this is not only just like we're going to get into this like it's only for the girls.
Yeah.
But we also need to learn that as male human beings, you know, we need to learn all that. So I feel that we need to get to that point where all the application of our education needs to come back from home, then community, and then to the wider scope.
Right. I hear that.
But then, like, if we're not judging from, because I think someone can argue and then say that, okay, fine, if we're gonna forget about doing exams, then how else do you judge that a child has learned something?
That's when we talk about mastery-based learning.
Okay.
Right.
Which is
essentially where an individual needs to learn a certain concept or a certain subject area, and then they move through the fundamentals. And how you know you've mastered something is by dictating your efficiency, right? How quickly you're solving the problem, and at your own pace. Remember, all of us learn at different paces. Right. You know, we used to have those brainy kids in grade 7 that were like doing equations, then you're like, you must be zoinked out, you know.
Right.
But then but when you came up to speed, you're like, but it was one of those. It's your own pace. So we're not looking at a situation where people should judge you, right? But there are systems like right now we have like Khan Academy.
okay.
Right, it's online learning, and then a child assesses themselves while they learn as they go. So it's like self-paced learning, individualized, no pressure. You're learning at your own pace and understanding. So now you're just mastering it yourself.
I can relate to that. I went to I don't know if you know about this ACE. Accelerated Christian Education, whatever, where you basically teach yourself from like grade 1 or whatever. And I think that really helped me a lot now. It prepared me for where I'm at now, where I don't really need to rely on an educator to impart the knowledge. I can learn on my own, but sometimes obviously you do need someone who can assist you when you get stuck or something. But I do think it was a system, as much as it worked for me, it didn't work for a lot of other people, because some other people do need assistance. But I do think that being given that platform to be able to teach yourself and learn on your own is something that's so important. And just relying on your own set of skills and being able to move at your own pace. Because that was the system. You move at your own pace. You finish. And then whatever you finish that year, that's what you finished.
Even like with the degree that I was studying for IMM, like what they do is that like you're given a certain amount of time to finish the degree, and I think that makes sense, because I feel like, guys, like not everyone is meant to be sitting in a 3-hour long lecture learning things, and like it's just really made my life a lot easier, because then I could also do my hustling on the side. If it means that I need to take a gap here because like I'm just going through some things, like it's cool, and you can do that. Like if I want to just take up one module this semester, like I can do the one module, finish it, do great at it, and things like that. So I think that's really something that's great. And even now I know with the Zim6 syllabus, like with the change that they made, where they're saying that it's now not just your final exam result, it's now even the term work. You have coursework that's put into consideration, and I think that's so important, because I am not a good test taker, guys. You're gonna ask me things, like you can give me something to study and I will get it in my brain. I can tell you everything about it, the facts and whatever. The minute you put me in a exam type
but
setting,
let's be practical. Let's be practical about how that works. It's basically testing your memory. That is it. It's not testing your knowledge. It's not testing your skill set. How practical your learning is. How much you've learned. And it's just it's basically a memory test.
It's a memory.
And they're basing people's lives on this memory test. What if my memory sucks, but I'm really good practically?
Because no person will know everything. It's the same thing like with medicine. Like there's no doctor who will, like doctors still research even after they've done the 7 years of education or whatever. You can go to them with some disease and they're like, okay, I need to look up on it. Let's try out this. You know, like there's no profession that like 100%
relies on memory.
Yes.
Like,
That'll be dangerous.
yes, it would. It really would.
be dangerous.
Unless your profession is memorizing stuff and
You're a
making
savant.
money from that, right?
Eesh, no.
But I don't think that's like 10 to 1.
Yeah.
And remember, even the test taking environment. You know,
Yeah.
some people feel cornered and pressured.
Right.
You can be very free and so good. But once there, you start sweating. Next thing, I can't. I remember one time, we had a peer of ours.
Yeah.
Started flipping the pages. Then he puts his hand up and is like, I can't see the words. I'm like,
Right,
what?
right.
My paper is blank.
Right,
You know,
right.
psychologically, he'd already
Right,
frozen
right.
into shock. Over what?
Let's bring.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. Let's bring in other aspects into like the test taking process.
Yeah.
What happens in the situation of a girl who has been not practicing? Let's say it's for maths.
Yeah.
Practicing. Then the night before her exam, she gets raped. What happens in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
Obviously, she's stepping into this exam in a completely different frame of mind.
Yeah.
She even
Yeah.
did
She's
it,
not prepared. She's not going to be ready to write this exam, no matter how much she's practiced. Your mental health comes
Yes.
into play when it comes
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I think schools don't consider. I think that's
Psychological
a
background.
huge thing that needs to be
Yes.
included in the education system is assessing the mental health of your students at the same time while they're learning. The exam studying process is also something that's jarring. I've seen so many people kill themselves because they
Oh,
didn't
an
want to know
exam.
their
The
results.
results.
We heard about it even last year, isn't it? With
Yeah,
grade
that
7,
boy.
that little small boy.
Right.
I mean, it's such a young age.
That's
come on.
wrong for education.
Yeah.
But it's
not
because
worth
of the pressure that we're putting. I feel like that's why I'm just like, we come back to the same question to ask is that should the system be changed? I know, I think it's in Finland. I'm not too sure if it's
Yeah, it
Finland.
is Finland, yeah.
Where they've changed how they do the
Completely,
whole education system because they're like, it doesn't work. Like, I feel like in third world countries, we
Right.
are clinging on to
Right,
things that are
right,
not
right.
working
They're
so
outdated.
tight. Right. And I think that even sometimes, like, I know back in the day, they used to have like you could be an apprentice, like learning people.
Soft skills
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
proper skill
Right.
sets, like
Yeah.
she
So
mentioned,
like, you
yeah.
know, people who have ADD and things like that. Like, I was just
Yes.
coming from a kids camp, and like one of the kids in my group, I could tell. I was like, he's not okay. Like, he definitely has some sort of a learning disability. I'm not too sure what it is, but I was like, it's probably ADD. He could be autistic. But like, the teachers were actually telling us, they're like, you know what, the parents are in denial. They're like, we noticed when he came in for the entrance exam, and like they have a special class at that school, and they're like, no, we noticed, we wanted to put him in that class, but they were like, no.
Oh.
Our son is fine.
That's another
He has a
problem, yeah.
speech problem, but it's fine. You just need to push him.
Hey.
And you see, that's already a problem
that's
in
just-
itself. Is that like,
exactly.
because parents are so hell bent on my child has to be a doctor, an
That's
accountant.
yes. Yeah.
So like, it's not always a situation like that. You know, a degree means that you're educated. There's some
Right.
people who have. I don't have a degree, but like
No.
I've gotten jobs based on the fact that like I get things done.
And because you can speak, you know what
Yeah.
how to work around your mind and how to like.
I think this is
maneuver.
where she's coming in, where we need to change the system, where it's
Definitely.
let's focus on the children's strengths,
Right.
find out what they are, get them to
move
open
forward
up,
from
and then get them to like the thing, their interests.
Yeah.
Like if someone had stopped you on your music,
Yeah.
probably that would just you probably would have been someone very, very miserable.
I
You
was.
know, yeah. At some point.
Good testimony like to that is that for upper six, after my O's, my mom was like, you were doing maths biochem. Like, I had passed everything, and she was like, your options are maths biochem. I was like, no, I want to try and do business. She's like, no, maths bio and chem, that is what you're
Restricted,
doing.
like that is it.
So I
Done.
went. I was like, cool bees, no problem. First term, lowest six, maths biochem. We had this guy come in and talk at the school, and then I was like, and he was like, follow your passion, follow your dream. At the end of the day, it's just you. And I was like, no, I'm gonna do art. And I dropped bio, and I didn't tell my mom about it. And like that year, I was the highest out of the lower sixes and upper sixes for art,
Wow.
because that's where
That's
my
where
mind
you-
was at. That's
exactly.
what I wanted to do. So I'm like, sometimes parents like put this pressure. Like, I know some kids even again from the camps that I do, you'll have these kids that are like, I'm doing 5 subjects for A level because my mom
that's a lot.
says I have to
That's
do
too much.
the subjects.
That's a
You
lot.
don't need that kind of pressure.
And sometimes parents do it for clout. Like a parent will be like, no,
Oh, yes.
my daughter's doing 5 subjects. My daughter's doing all sciences. My daughter's doing this. Like sometimes it's got nothing to do with the kid. It's just because like as a parent you just want to be that parent who will be like,
Right.
oh, and I have 15 points by or what is it now? It'll be 25 points, I
Then
guess.
what?
Yeah,
And then
25
what?
points.
And then
But your
what?
child was like dying
said.
and stressed out, and then mental health issues also now start to
Exactly.
kick in.
Right. But I want to ask you though, now that you're out of school all these years and you look back, do you ever feel like you wish you had done anything differently?
Definitely.
That's like an open-ended
Yeah,
question.
I think everyone.
Like,
think
what would you have done?
I had a testimony from one of my friends. Like she wanted, they were talking about how I had actually explained something about a child who got 0 points at A level recently.
Yeah.
And then I kind of came in and gave in my weighed in after people had trashed, talked, and whatnot. And everyone's like, "Whoa, what did you decide to do this for a career?" I'm like, I never went to school for it, but I wish I had gone back. Then a whole lot of people just said, "No, look, I was in the accounting field, but I'm in IT right now. I wish I'd done this way. Someone should have opened up my mind." His brother, who does computers, is now in sales. He doesn't like it. So it's one of those things. I would have gone back, probably, but I wouldn't have gone back too much because my father had this whole, be yourself, do what you want. I will just support you, just make sure you know what you want. And his keywords were always focus. So I guess that's where things get lost.
Right.
I guess I should have focused a little bit more on maybe on this, but I only realized when you're like 21, which is kind of almost late, but time is never a limit. Yeah.
But like you'll never know that the past things that you've done. Like for example, let's just assume, right, that at high school I was in all of the choirs, that I did only art subjects. Maybe I did like art, and I don't know if there was like maybe like let's say they had put a music course at the school. I'd done music as well. Like maybe I wouldn't be able to write the way I'm writing. Maybe I wouldn't have been able to create the networks that I have now because
Of some of the situations.
yeah.
of
So like.
course, yeah.
But I still think that definitely, like for my A levels, I feel like I was robbed of getting better grades.
Right.
Because I think if I had done arts or business, because I
Things
have
that
an
you'll
interest in
actually-
those two things,
exactly.
I definitely like 12,
That-
13,
that's it.
14
That's
points.
it,
I
that's
would
it.
have been there if I had done the subjects I wanted to, because I had a passion.
But here's the
for them.
thing. You shouldn't be caring about the 12, 13, 14 points.
True, but like
Yeah, you
it's
know.
hard to not.
That's not the focus.
True.
What you should have probably had was, at least if I had done those fundamentals early on, that it would have helped you to master by now. You probably would have been
Yeah,
a different
20
a
steps
diff-
ahead.
Exactly. That's the only regret I look at. That information that I could have gotten early on that would have helped me where I am right now.
Yeah.
Because now I need to read quicker, assimilate things very quickly, and then
Right.
implement it faster.
I don't know. I always think that I wish I did things differently, but at the same time, I had so many great experiences when I was in school because I chose not to study. Like,
No.
I'm being serious.
Maybe you're an auditory learner.
I'm very serious.
Did you ever think
No, I
about
think
that?
I'm the kind of learner where I have to listen in class.
Yeah, you're like me.
And then I have to do my homework.
Yeah.
If I don't do
If I
that,
don't do my homework and I don't pay attention,
I'm dead.
That's it.
I'm
flop.
dead. I'm not gonna read.
Right.
Hell.
But then I was also that kind of kid who I was always talking in class, but then I would still get my
Extra
my marks.
That's it. Because you were listening.
Yeah, I don't know. But I still stand by the fact that
No.
I think I'm glad that I had the experiences
But
that I
That you
had.
had.
here's now what I would have loved to happen to me, maybe even to you. Because when they used to write your report card, they would have been, she's very talkative.
Right.
Disturbs
That
people a
was
lot.
always
Yeah.
it.
But here's the thing. If a child is doing that, they're not getting engaged.
Yeah.
That means also the lesson is not exactly vibrant enough. And that just dithers and you start to do other things.
Right.
But your talking ability, your auditory learning,
Right.
if they spoke to that and actually channeled you towards that, all your subjects, you would have been very much on the
Right.
But then
on the
now,
good
isn't
one.
it impractical? Like, I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that, okay, in Zim, right, private schools, you have classes where it's like 20 to 30 students per class. In government schools, you're looking at like
50
60 to 100 in a class.
Yeah.
Right. And
So
there's
like,
no specialized
yeah,
learning.
no
Right.
specialized learning.
That's another
So
thing.
now, when it comes to like in a private school, definitely they could have been like, okay, Jordan learns like this, Tafadzwa
They
learns like
still
this.
don't do that, no.
but do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's
they're
easy
gonna
for
put
them
that
because
effort.
it's a smaller group of kids to
Yeah.
work with. But now in government schools, it's ridiculous because it's like 50 kids.
Yeah.
A teacher
Right.
is literally getting into class just so I can finish my learning
Syllabus.
schedule, my
Yeah,
syllabus,
exactly, that's
and
it.
like I'm done because that is what I'm being paid for. So sometimes I get that it's like it would be great if we could do that, but sometimes it's a bit difficult to do it that way, like because of the numbers that they get, like 50 kids.
Which
like,
is where she was saying about the ACE, that kind of learning modulus operandi would have worked for a government school. When you're self-motivated
When
as an
there's so many
individual,
kids.
yeah, exactly, and you want to do something, and then they actually infuse you like peer-to-peer collaboration, more learning together.
Right.
You know, a teacher will have less work to do,
Yeah.
and then you guys actually learn better whilst you're talking amongst
Right,
yourselves.
right,
And all you
right,
need is that
right,
teacher
right,
just to come,
right.
sir, we just got a little confused here,
Right,
but,
and
and then that's just about it, and then you continue on yourselves. Yeah.
I agree. I think that working with that approach would also bring you back to like how we operate in real life.
Exactly.
which is working with other people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas in the way that the schooling system works now, it's very competitive,
Yes.
single-minded.
Yes.
Exactly.
Not working with anyone else except obviously if you do like a group project.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But those last how long? 2 seconds, and then you're back to competing.
Even in
Yeah.
the group
Yeah.
project,
Even number one.
someone wants to
Even in the group
be.
project,
I'm
it's
doing
like
everything.
The top 10
Someone
in
is
the
doing
class.
nothing.
Yeah.
Someone is doing nothing, and you're all pulling the weight
That's
of
true.
this person.
The one person. true.
Right. So on that note, I think now that we're in the working world, we've come out of school, we've been out of school. Do you think that school, from your perspective and what you experienced in your schooling experience, prepared you for this world?
No.
I don't think so, because look, maybe because it's my field and I'm always looking at things on a different perspective. I probably would have wanted financial literacy, you know,
Yes.
financial literacy class, time management
That
class,
part.
you know,
Right.
and self-reflection and self-introspection. Right now, these children, these gadgets, my dear, they are a big distraction. You do not have actual time to actually
I
look
kind of
into you.
disagree. I don't know. On the same note, there are kids who are using these devices
No.
to improve themselves and make themselves
Some.
even more smart.
Some.
I think if kids were given the literacy on how to make themselves smarter
Yes.
with these
With the
devices,
gadget, yes, no, that
Right.
that we're coming to,
because there's kids now, guys,
Yeah,
doing
the-
big things.
fourth generation industrial revolution is real, and
Yeah.
our children and the current Gen Z are there. If they're not focused
Doing
on
big
actually learning about themselves,
Yeah.
like your question was, did the school prepare you? Now in school they're not going to teach you digital citizenship
Right,
on how to
right.
focus yourself and how to look for them. It takes those kids that have those piqued interests in whatever they want,
Right.
go research it,
Yeah.
and then they make big
Right.
things.
To it.
Right. I think this generation also is very much more understanding of the fact that education can only take you so far, and that
Yeah.
they have so many more options. Whereas our
They've
generation
been exposed.
probably were like, oh, we have to get this education, we have to do this, we have to follow like this set of rules. These days, kids are more focused on, oh, I want to become a YouTuber, and they actually become this
Yeah.
big,
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
YouTuber.
And they have like a crazy following,
And they're making
making money
money.
out
Right.
of
Yeah,
it,
you
getting
know.
sponsorship
Right.
and whatever. They understand the
Self-made by like
yeah.
17,
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, that's so true.
At the same time, I actually think that is also awesome and cool, but I still feel that some of the other things they will lack at some point,
Right,
because
right.
like I keep saying, the
Right.
basics, that financial literacy thing,
Yes.
Right.
that's still got to be there
Right,
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because most of these children will tell you, so why would I spend all my time getting to A level, getting a degree,
Right.
when
Yeah.
like you said, Steve Jobs dropped out? You didn't know where he was coming from and where
Yeah.
he was going.
That's true.
Your situation differs, you know. So some of these children, they're fooling themselves. Like they come to the parents, I'm just gonna do YouTube. I'm gonna be successful. You're telling that to a parent that's old school, that doesn't
Right.
understand this. They're gonna be on your throat.
Right, I hear that.
So
Yeah.
based on what you're saying, there's now this question that how, as a parent, as a teacher, do I identify that, okay, this child, like in this education system, it's not going to work. Like
No, it's not.
they're not going to be okay and everything. And that if we channel them into becoming a YouTuber or
Whatever the interest
doing
is,
whatever
yeah.
their interest is, like this is what's probably going to work out best for them. Because sometimes I think that that's also important, is that you need to be able to identify that, you know what, on the books, like I have a cousin where that happened, when my uncle tried, like he was like, no, repeat, and then after a while he was like, no, what do you want to do? And she was like, nah, I want to do this beauty school thing. And he's like, cool, I'm gonna send you for that. And she did it, she passed, and that's what, she was pushing it, like she was in it. And he was like, it took him a while to accept that, okay,
that's her passion,
yeah,
that's
like
what she
this
wants.
is my job, is not gonna be that
But
kid.
that's the ticket. You keep asking, how should parents do it? I was telling this parent who got this child 0 points, like, get involved. Like, start to ask her, because she says she wants to be an economist. Some children will say something just to please the parent.
Just to shut you up.
Yeah, exactly. But when they're actually at school, because I told them, like, I want to clap. I'm like, no, you shouldn't. Actually, go to her and start asking, what are your interests? Like what did you spend most of your time doing at school? What were you online doing? What were you guys talking about? What piqued your interest? Focus them on that. And then now you as a parent, you now need to learn those interests. So I guess we had remote control parents, because the Zimbabwean context is just chuck them to school, everything will happen there. I'm paying the money to do everything.
That's why I'm paying school
when they come back ill-mannered, what are you doing in this school? My child is not disciplined. No. Where was the first school?
Yeah,
at home.
True.
What were you doing? Get involved with your child right there, right now. Then get to know them and get close to them, because I think it's even worse with these gateways that we have here. We need to keep not a big brother or monitor, but just be there, homie, be into it, and ask them constantly to be like their sounding board, and then get involved in their interests.
Right.
I think that's the best. That's the first step. I'm always repeating that, and then after that, you start to learn your child. You even foster a little friendship or bond. You also get interested in them, and they'll get interested in you.
I hear that. But what happens in the situation of a parent who
That's
hated
distant.
school having a kid that hates school? How are they going to now navigate the situation, because they themselves did not
You're
like
already
the schooling
against this system.
You're already good.
So now they have
like
to
me.
now impart something that they didn't have onto their kids. How does that even happen?
I think if that's why I came back to one course, you need to have self-reflection. Now you actually understand that I hate this current educational system. So what are you going to do about it for your children? Right? Like you said, not the whole education system, not entirely all of it is bad.
Yeah.
Not all
I mean, we all learn something.
Yes,
from
Exactly.
school.
true.
I mean,
We can't hate.
You can't hate, yeah. But I think from the onset, what you're supposed to tell them is, right, my dear child, you're going to this kind of setting to get information. Right? It's a resource center
Right.
amongst everything else. I want you to express yourself, find who you are, be good at talking to people if they can, because some people are introverted, right? But get your comms up, and then find yourself, focus on finding what is it that you actually like. Come back to me, tell me, and I'll help you do it. We have a child, I think she's number 4 in Zim for ladies golf. She's an 18-year-old.
Amazing.
She started playing golf when she was 12. She wanted to go for lower 6. The dad said, no, you don't need this, but your fallback, find something that's nice. She said, maybe I want to do a marketing. So I was like, marketing, golfing, that can blend very well,
Yeah.
that can be.
But that's why all the business happens on the golf course.
So now,
and they'll be like,
when other children are going from 8 to or 7 to 1 or to 5 in school, she's actually on the golf course every day.
right.
And then she's got a personal tutor that comes in for 1 or 2 hours to teach her basic maths, English, and some bit of marketing at lower 6. So already now she's already starting on that prime level, that she's already committed to herself that I'm going to be a golfer, I'm going to be professional, and I'm moving with it. But I'm not leaving out the education, I'm still doing the marketing, something that she likes.
Right.
And that's also going to dovetail very well with the golf. And she's already set. And this is at 17, 18. By the time she gets to 25, she's probably going to be richer than all of us combined.
I don't know, guys. I've been thinking about this point. It's been on my mind that sometimes I understand why parents are like, let me just put my kid through all this.
Yeah.
Because kids are also very unpredictable.
Yes.
That's
because
true.
Speaking from my own experience, I don't know how many things I went through, being like, oh, this is what I love, this is what I want to do, and then I got over it, and I moved on to the next thing, and my parents had to just be like, okay,
Right, we got tired, like, all right.
So I can understand why parents are just like, I'm not listening to what you're saying right now, because you've done this 26 times, and we've had to fund every single one of those
those little
things,
passions.
right?
But then, don't you feel like sometimes it comes to a point where it's also an issue of exposure? Like,
Thank you.
so for example, which I think we also need to talk about, private schools and government schools. I know now because the Zim6 syllabus has changed, it's kind of like balancing it out sort of. But like you'd have a situation where, because private schools force you to do sports, like you have to do one sport, you have to do one cultural activity, and then you're also in school or whatever, a club, whatever. Whereas with government schools, it was just school. Yes, if you want to do soccer on the side or whatever, that's you. And the sports were limited. It was soccer and debates. Like, you know, they would limit the extracurricular activities. But now, like, so I feel like sometimes that exposure, yes, this year Jordan wants to be a ballerina. Next year you want to do sewing. The next year next year you want to do something else. But do you get it? Like, but you've had that exposure, you've had that experience, and like in 10 years' time, you can be running an organization, and because of that time when you were 12 and you had this dream about being a ballerina, like there's something that will click and you're like, okay guys, if we're going to advertise specifically to ballerinas, when I was this age and I was like in that thing, you know, so that exposure, I think it's really important, and I think that's what now has helped, especially with government schools, because that's where they were falling short, is that the kids were exposed to unlimited things. It was like, you're playing soccer at school, you're part of the choir, those are the cultural activities, the choir.
It is a privilege to be able to say, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to do this. But at the same time, I think it's something that also prepares you for real life. Because in this life thing, you're also very uncertain about what you want to do with yourself. I mean, even right now, all of us sitting here, I'm sure there's one thing that you're like, I really want to do this, but
there are a lot of things.
I don't know if it'll work out.
It's like, will it be?
But you don't have mommy and daddy, bank of mommy and dad to fund your
anymore.
Right.
So all on us is like a trial and error thing.
Entrepreneurship. I think that's part of it.
But let's talk about the kid who doesn't have the exposure, the privilege, not even the exposure, the privilege. The child who is living in a rural area and they are exposed to, like, let's say the girl child, who is exposed to predatory men on her way to school. She's being exposed to these, like, this place. I actually was speaking to an activist for child pregnancies, and they were saying that there's a place, I don't know where it is, I can't remember the location, but there's a place on the way to the school. There's a rank. Okay. And so these girls have to pass these men. And let's think about this. There's girls who are budding and they're in the midst of puberty, and obviously when you're going through puberty, your fertility is at its highest. But at the same time, you're going to school, but you're not being taught about the fact that some men are going to be predatory towards you, and they're going to take advantage of your youth, and then you fall pregnant, and then you come to school and they discriminate against you and tell you have to leave because you're pregnant.
Why is that though?
Right. Or it happens in a situation where you're having sex with an older or a Form 1 is being enticed by an upper six. And this man is like, I want to have sex. This Form 1 is going to do, I know for a fact, guys, that I gave up my virginity to my 17-year-old boyfriend when I was 12 because he told me, if you love me, you're going to do it. And I did it, even though I was scared as hell. I did it because that's what I needed to do.
And you're impressionable. Like you're in that mind space where you're just like, okay, well, like you don't understand these things. And because they don't want to talk about these things in schools, then you now have this problem. Like sex ed is so important, and all they want to talk about it from the biology point of view. That this is what happens when a baby's made, and that's it.
That's it.
But what about all the outside influences, like this old man is trying to entice you? How do you know when someone is putting sexual passes towards you? How do you prepare yourself when, like in these situations, you know what I'm saying? Protective measures. That there's this thing of, no, we don't want to put condoms in school, but maybe we should. Kids are having sex, guys.
Yeah, it's a 50-50.
Kids are having sex. If I was having sex at 12, kids are having sex.
No, they are.
Definitely. Best believe that is.
Like I said, Westwood now. Influence,
and they don't know about safe sex.
No,
they don't know about HIV.
So here's what
STIs.
they've done. I think it's in Denmark or Norway. They've actually started doing sex ed at kindergarten.
It's important. It's part of life, guys. So, I think why are we
cutting out the whole
how we came into existence?
I think the African context is even worse because we kind of think we make it as if it's taboo, or it's like, it's a no-go area. You can't even have that talk with your mom or your dad. So what these guys are starting to do is at kindergarten, like at I think it's age 3 when they're toddler phase, when they start to speak and all. They're like, no, this is a penis, with the proper scientific terms, and then they give them fun terms, so that they're not mystified. It's not a mystery. It's like, oh, okay, so that goes in there, and then it puts that, and then that, so a baby comes.
Right.
Oh, right. And they're just being upfront and frank.
Yeah.
And then they talk about, by the time they get to about grade 5, they've already had the sex talk. So by the time when the hormones start to kick in, or you're starting to feel something, you already know that this is how it is. And the boys, this is how they're going to act. And then the older boys, and then the men. So they're giving them that. And apparently it's reduced the amount of teenage sex by 60% in the past 5 years because of that beginning, just by kindergarten.
Right. But I think I was actually watching something that said that kids these days, Generation X kids, more and more are being celibate than before.
Oh wow.
Where kids would just give it up. Because I think now kids are
information.
more informed. They understand that it's not something that you just give up because everyone's doing it or whatever. There's more empowerment.
Yeah, and education plays such a big role in changing a lot of these statistics. Like I was looking up some stats on, even just in general with women, like the number of, teenage pregnancies are reduced. The number of women who stay in abusive relationships are reduced when they now, like when a woman is educated, when they're informed, when they know these things. Because when things are such a big mystery, that's when kids want to experiment.
Exactly.
But you don't know. You're told that don't drink wine.
Why?
Why? You're just told don't drink it.
That's it.
Then I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be at a friend's house. There's gonna be a bottle of wine. I'll be like, fam, let's just try it out. Like, what's the big?
I'm sure we all started drinking with our friends.
Right, right. And that's the thing. So like, I feel like so many things just need to be demystified. And then like also just another question about like, with the pregnant girls. I remember when I was writing, there was a girl at a school. I won't mention the name, but and she was kicked out. She was kicked out of the school, right? Because she was pregnant. I think she was like maybe 7 months. So when it's your first pregnancy, it doesn't show really. Like I think maybe from the 7 months, that's when it like really starts.
Last trimester usually you
bump up. So basically, and they were like, no, they kicked her out. I think she was like maybe 3 months pregnant when they kicked her out because they found out through rumors, gossip squad. And then they're like, no, you can only come back to write your exams. So I was like, I'm sorry.
That sucks.
Her parents have paid the school fees for the whole year.
Ooh.
Refund me.
Yeah, it's like they paid, but like how schools will have these clauses. They'll be like, well, if the child gets pregnant, but I'm just like, what harm does a pregnancy cause to the school? Like
influence. That's what they'll tell you.
Which kind of influence?
That's what they'll tell you. They'll say that it's influence. They'll say that we're co-signing this child taking part in teenage sex or promiscuity. They'll say so much bullshit.
That's kind of evil though.
It's that.
Because I would think that if that's a situation that actually happens, make a good example out of it.
Exactly.
And then, work on it.
Show the idea of family. Community.
Exactly. Like we're here, we're together. And then
but that example in our context is to punish you.
To punish.
That's to show an example of someone.
Right, but for me, my question is, what happens to, let's say it was another a boy who impregnated this teenager.
Exactly.
Why does he not get punished?
Exactly. Why does he get
just because he doesn't fall pregnant? He ejaculated into this woman.
And it's his baby that's growing in this poor girl.
Right.
And now you have her sitting at home. Now she's a baby mama. Because she's got this baby, because you told her that, no, you can't do. Because the thing is, I feel like sometimes when you take me out of school when I'm pregnant at 18 or 16, right? And you tell me that because you can't do both. So now I already have this mentality. I'm 18, maybe I'm told you can come back and write your exams. I write my exams. I do pretty well. I get my whatever points. Then now in my mind, I'm like, okay, so I can't go to varsity because imagine if high school was bad, then I can't also do the varsity and kids thing. So you've already created this idea in the girl's mind.
But these are people that tell you this.
Yes.
And you're not fortunate or privileged, like you said, to have a support system that's there.
Right.
My sister went through the same thing. She got impregnated like 6 months before she came to first year varsity.
Yeah.
But my dad was like, no, it's okay. Child,
As you were.
You go back. Education's too good with this one. But not everyone.
Not all parents are willing to look after the.
Right.
They'll be like, hey, I've had my grandchildren. I've had my children. I raised my kids.
They'll be like, get out. There's a lot of families that'll be like,
exactly.
That's not our plan. Get out.
Yeah.
But I think this is where we need to. It's that mindset that needs to start to change. And I'm always thinking, I'm always telling my friends that we need to start changing it because we've already men. I'm always saying it. Men are first. We used to get it. We are the ones.
My thing is, stop telling girls to have sex without condoms if you're not willing to take on the consequences that come on once this child is now in the world.
When you're about to do it,
stop. It
do
feels
you even
good,
understand
great.
what you're doing to this woman? Do you understand what vulnerable state she's in? Do you even
Exactly.
know what's going on, or you're
Risk.
just thinking with your
That's
little
a
brain?
risk.
This is why now it goes back to what you were saying is about the things that we're teaching in the schools. That this
Yes.
should be something that's also
Sex
being
ed,
taught.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, I feel like we like to skirt around like very important, like very crucial things. Because in addition to that, it's not just about pregnancy, guys. It's also
a
about
lot.
STIs.
Yeah.
Mental
and
health.
intervention, mental health.
The moment you
a
start
lot
having
of-
sex, your mental changes.
Exactly. So I'm just like, there are all of these things that are coming into play, but like, we don't want to talk about it. Like we don't want to educate our children on these things. And then it becomes a problem in 7 years, and then now teenagers, and then now you're surprised, like, oh, I can't believe that this is what the statistics are like.
They're sending videos. I am going to walk around in my birthday suit. What are you
Sending
going to do? I'm
nudes,
like,
guys, like sending
what are you
nudes.
doing?
Why is that such a normal thing in our generations of like, oh, someone asked me for a nude, I'm just gonna send one. You know,
then what?
for me, for the longest time, I used to think, oh, nudes are normal. Like, what do you mean? You don't send nudes? Are you crazy?
Right?
Until someone was like to me, can we think about the idea of literally standing naked and taking a picture and
Sure.
sending it
To
to
someone.
someone? How is that normal?
How do you know it's just someone?
Right.
Not everyone.
And we all know everyone, especially boys, are gonna be like, look at what my girlfriend said.
Yeah.
Look at how Bob, this is what I'm hitting, this is what I'm tapping.
Look how hot her body is.
Right.
Things like that. So, but like I said, it's the mindset. We need to shift.
Education.
Education. I remember the other. This is a very nice one. I'm actually gonna try and write a little small book on it. It was to introduce the topic of sexuality using pornography.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because no.
Problematic.
Where are
That's
we
not
going with
problematic.
this?
No, 'cause it was the idea was
Okay.
because most of these children or teenagers are more exposed to pornographic material than we were.
Right.
True.
Yeah, we
They
had
can
more
literally
sensitive.
just like type in porn app on
It's
their phones
open
and
and it's open. You know.
And the parent is not checking for it.
Why would you?
What? Right.
You know, it's free airtime. I mean,
And
it's
now they
open
even know how
network.
to like do the whole incognito window
Yes,
and
right.
blah blah
That's
blah.
right.
So,
Reading your history.
what they're watching is that really what actually goes on? You see now. So their first point of reference about it is not it. So
Right.
I
because
can come.
That's
Yeah.
also a thing when you expose. There've been many situations where
Yeah.
you get into contact with someone sexually and then they now have these expectations because
That's
their
what they
first
see.
What
their
they
first line of
Reference.
reference
It's very
It's-
unrealistic.
it's
like
acting.
unrealistic.
It's
It was
acting.
It was a performance.
It's a performance.
Literally.
And
True,
you
right?
see, so what they were saying, they were trying to demonstrate, like, how do you think this girl is feeling? And this was like 15, 16-year-olds. This class was being held. And then this girl's like, oh, so is that, no. And then the boy's like, do you actually think you can manage doing that? Look how much sweat he's, no, and then he's
Well, we can speak for ourselves.
It got them thinking.
We can speak for
it's like,
ourselves.
well, maybe.
You know. But
maybe
it
I
was
can
a good
handle it,
impact
Daddy.
because
But
you demystify that, then you understand that it's all acting. And then they even went to the point where they even got backstage footage, you know, uncut editions, like to find like, oh, okay, so they're actually acting. Oh, so then the boys are like, so we're being duped this whole time.
Because when you're
Right.
young,
Yeah.
it doesn't register that it's acting.
Yeah.
And even the same thing with like falling in love and girls and stuff like that. Like, we watch these movies and that's the idea is that
Right.
like you expect the movie
Right, and
type
it's
relationship.
bullshit.
You expect the movie type situation where like, okay, I'm gonna get married and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
happily
yeah.
ever after.
After.
Like, we were all angry at the last episode of Game of Thrones because they showed us they showed us the life after the happily ever after.
then
And
you're
I
like,
think
huh?
it's more important for us to now start showing our kids that. And it comes again back to the whole issue of, are we preparing our kids for life when they're in school? They need to know that, okay, you can apply to go to Harvard. Because all the time, there's always a thing that's told, oh, you apply, study hard, you go to an Ivy League school. Not all the time will you get in. You can go to an Ivy League school and guess what? You're going to be at the bottom of the barrel.
Exactly.
You were number one here in Zimbabwe or in
No.
Harare or in your little private school, but you're going to go to university where there are 2,000 people in your one class. and you're gonna be number 1,998.
Right.
just-
I feel like university is high school 2.0 in my opinion.
Yes,
Because people
without
are leaving
uniform and
high
rules
school
and
and
restrictions.
moving into university with the same mindset.
Yeah.
There's literally no preparation to be like, this is not high school anymore. But they
Yeah.
treat it like that. Kids are going to university and partying and going to lectures and what.
Drinking,
And it's just high school culture in a wider
Yeah.
setting.
With less restrictions.
With less
Right.
restrictions, no
Your parents
rules,
are
no
not there.
regulations,
Right.
no punishments
And
except
now
for
you're
real
18
life.
and you can drink and you can
So-called,
legally.
you
Right.
think you can drink,
Right.
but can you actually manage to drink?
No.
So here's where I have a problem with universities right now, because we're trying to have a program set up where we have corporates now tell universities this is the kind of work ethic that we want.
Yeah.
Okay, we're trying to fuel at least the labor market, whatnot.
Yeah.
But the type of people that are coming out of it, you can get a highly passed or first degree student, but that has a drinking problem, like you said, because they went untethered all
Yes.
through university. No one told them, hey, you need to pull the brakes here, and then you need to be. There's students right now, even on attachment, they'll get into a workplace drunk, get told, hey, you're drunk, go home. If this happens again, you're fired. Guess what? Goes back again, just like that. Job's gone. Do they learn?
They don't
No,
take it seriously.
They don't. They're like, nah, I'm an attachment. I've still got another year of school.
Right.
I'm out. Peace. You think it's cool? No, but those are your
not.
baby steps to actually learning
Right.
about where you're going to work or where you're gonna get your money from. Like
Yeah.
you said, Bank of Mommy and Daddy
Right.
is expiring.
Right.
Yeah,
It
it
runs
runs
out.
out.
Well, you know what? To be honest, not for every single person.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
comes to the idea of private schools and public schools. I think in the situation of a public school, a lot of kids, it runs out, guys.
Quickly.
It stops. I know for a lot of people, their parents are like, from the high school point,
So, yeah.
they're like, if you're not getting bursaries and scholarships, I'm sorry.
I'm not
This
gonna.
is as far
I'm
as
not
I can
able.
take
Yeah.
you.
Exactly.
Right. And we've already struggled to put you through school. You think I'm going to do university as well? It can't. And from the private school perspective, a lot of private school kids are able to just waffle through life because they know that Bank of Mom and Dad is
Yeah.
going to always be there.
Till they're like
To
40,
pay your way
like
through life.
till they're
And-
shocking ages, like
Right.
getting married and still
Adulting.
knowing,
Right.
Adulting
yeah,
at home.
like literally, and not even adulting at home. Like you can have a parent who'll be like, "No, you're 25 now. We've bought you a stand and a
and
house,
whatnot.
whatever. We're gonna
Right.
do this
We
for
do
you."
not
And
like
like,
this Morora of yours. Well, we do not like this. Oh,
Right.
yeah, like.
Right.
So I feel like sometimes, and I feel because private schools have gotten accustomed to having those kind of kids, they don't feel the need to life train people. Like I went to a private school. We had education for living, right, which was supposed to be
Life
the
skills.
session where they're teaching you life
Right.
skills.
Right.
But not really. Like I learned life skills because I had a tough life. Like
Right.
life taught me life.
You got into a
Right?
situation.
And my situation happened when I was still in high school, so that's why I wised up fast. And like literally, like
Okay.
I was the kid who used to like sell candy to my classmates. I would sell my mom would be like, "Oh, someone makes pies." I would I'll be like, "Give me the
Entrepreneur.
pies. Let me sell those at school." Because my mom stopped giving me pocket money. Like when I hit high school, my mom was like, "Yeah, so
Sorry about it.
Fees is more than
right?
enough.
Right?
What
What do you need from me?" And that's when I was like, no, but I also want nice things. So I had to start hustling, you
With
know?
my friends.
Yeah.
You see, so the thing is like, I feel like, but not everyone has that, private school experience.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times these private schools, like, you'll find that because you had the private school privilege,
Silver spoon.
you can't handle certain things.
Right.
Yeah.
These are the people that like freak out, that become the druggies, that, you can just see that this person is not handling a bad economic situation.
Can't take no. for
We
an
can't take a
answer.
no for an answer.
Right.
Exactly, because
Can't handle
we're
the
used to getting
crisis.
everything. Exactly, you can't handle
Right.
crisis.
Right.
Zim
Can't
is
take
tough
money
already.
not always solving everything. You
Exactly.
sometimes have to have skills, baby girl. Like, it's not just what your bank account says. Right.
I don't blame the parents because this skin came from a very, very tough background.
Right. And when you mean this skin, what do you mean?
I'm saying black oppression and the way we came
Right.
into this
Okay.
situation. So most of I'll talk about my
But some people
parents.
can't relate to that. The
Yeah.
skin. They're
Yeah, I
like,
know.
oh, I'm a white girl.
I'm a white girl. Of
I'm
course.
privileged.
Yeah, but
right. Or I'm
right
a
now-
light
Any,
skin.
no
but we're
offense,
talking
but any skin that isn't white has
Yeah.
come through a lot.
It has come through a lot.
Because
Yeah.
Right.
white privilege.
Exactly.
Right.
So that
But
is
there's a lot of people who are white passing.
Yes,
Of course,
true,
yeah.
true. That
So,
is very true.
That kind of aspect has gotten people onto this. If I've made it, Mama, look at me, I made it. And then I want my kids, like you said, clout also comes into perspective. But I'll tell you, like my father's like he used to think I don't know how he got into it. Like he came from a very harsh background, like rural type background. But he gave us everything. But he never like put it up there that you can have everything and then you're spoiled. He's telling no, you need to work for this. You need to have that right work ethic.
Yeah.
So he kept on with the core values because he's like, no, this is how the white man did it, and this is how I want you to also do it.
Right.
That was his thinking, because those guys have already gone ahead. Now you have the situation while you're saying, lifestyle is bombed out. But these parents, they actually probably know what they were doing in the background, so they kind of know that this. But have you braced your children enough? Had you taught them that this is what we're doing? Because most of it, let's be honest, some of the stuff was underhand dealings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot of corruption. Not everything is all straight and gloom, and not all parents will actually reveal how they're actually doing what they're doing.
Right.
But then
That's
now this
another
is where my
problem.
question comes in: is that like,
Who's
who's supposed to teach? Like, yes, I get it that parents must teach their kids this, but then this is now where the question of private school versus public school comes in. Like people say, like for example, you can go to. I've been to job interviews where. Like they'll be like, oh, what high school did you go to? And I'll be like, oh, I
Literally,
went to
exactly,
and they'll be like, oh, okay, great. So yeah, we can tell you're very well spoken, whatever. But I'm like, I've met kids from Banda who are also well spoken. I've met people from Saint Inyoka, a school I've never heard of before, that are very well spoken. But like
Right.
Is
like-
my background from education a reference to
who I am as a
Right,
person.
right,
Like
right.
you can have a super lazy person who went to a brilliant A school.
Right.
Yeah,
But
which
just
is
because-
most of the time.
And sometimes they also have this whole thing where they'll we see these
Entitlement.
situations where you have a kid that came from a mission school or a public school, right? And then they moved to a private school. And they just sink. They may have been thriving at these schools.
Right.
And the minute you move them into the private school.
Because now you're gouache.
Yes.
Because you're not trying to fit in
Yeah,
to
you're
that
now
social strata.
she's so quiet. She can speak English. Oh my god. Right.
But you see, there are things like that happen. So now it's just like this question that like, okay, guys, like, what are we saying? Like, do we have to now ask these schools to train our kids better? Is it solely up to the parents? Like, what is the role of a school? What is the role of the parent?
Right,
And
right.
like, where do these different roles like kind of overlap into developing like our ideal?
There's no ideal, but a wholesome,
Okay,
a wholesome
yes,
citizen.
Yes.
I guess because we're now looking at it at a point where school doesn't matter anymore, because we're now saying with technology you have access to information.
You can do anything.
You can
do
learn
anything
on
you want.
YouTube, guys. YouTube
So,
will teach you everything.
This is where maybe what
Right.
you're saying is now probably more pertinent now. School should also change to become a social arena to teach people to get along with one another,
Right.
collaborate
Right.
with energies,
Right.
and to work
Right.
together. That peer-to-peer, and community-based type of fabric that needs to be
Yes,
woven
yes.
into the individual. Because now you're saying you can get your school anyway, but how do you interact with the next person? Should them be coming from a different background affect the way you relate to them? Now that's what we need. Because now,
Right,
yes, we can talk
right.
about it at home. You can bring up good value. We have certain parents that are very good people that will raise their kids not to discriminate, take every individual as they are. But when it comes to the school setting now, it's now there that we need to reconfigure, relearn on how to actually have all these new competencies in it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so there was on the issue of how you had brought up the fact that some kids would have left the mission school and have gotten a scholarship and are now in this private school and they can't cope
Right here.
because even within the fabric of the school's rules, there's rules like you can't speak your language, your home language. You must speak English because this is an English school and this is what we speak.
Right.
And I think that there was a debate
Yes.
on Twitter about how private school versus public school are private schools essentially telling kids to let go of their heritage to essentially fit in,
Yes.
to acclimatize. You know what I'm saying? I can speak for myself. I can speak for myself. I went to a private school for most of my life. I finished at a public school. And in that private school, it was cool to speak English. It's cool to be well spoken.
Yes,
To
of
have,
course.
you know, read 1,000 books in a year and whatever.
Big words.
Yeah, and use your big words. And for me, that was like super cool.
Yeah.
Because I love English. That's my favorite language. That was my favorite subject
Yeah,
in
yeah,
school.
subject. Okay.
And then I moved to South Africa. And in South Africa, they hate English. They hate it. They'll speak it in class, but the moment class is over, they are back to
Vernac.
vernac.
Yeah.
And they would look at me like, what is wrong with you? You're so colonized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I couldn't speak their vernac. Obviously, I'm from Zim. I have my disadvantages.
Yeah.
But it made school hell for me because kids would literally stand there and speak about me right in front,
In front
of
of
me.
you.
And I was like, I'm so unequipped for the real world that even when I came into the working world, now working in Zim, my level of Shona skills is not amazing. It's not amazing.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's
Yeah.
not brilliant.
Yeah.
Like my English skills.
Yeah.
And I always thought that, yeah, I'm going to get by with my English skills. At the top level, when I have to speak to my superiors, guys, I can speak. But when it's now having to work with people
The
in
community.
the team, they look at me like, why don't you speak Shona? And they'll be speaking the deepest fucking Shona that I've ever heard in the world. And
That's
I'm
true.
like,
I don't blame you.
Damn.
I don't blame you for that as well.
Right.
Look, when we started the education system in Zimbabwe, they actually thought English is the thing. We are copycats. We wanted to copy the
Right,
white man.
right.
So we thought if we went through English and that's gonna be it. What we forgot about is we should actually teach more of the vernacular because we are more than them at the same time.
Yeah.
I would have actually wanted a situation where there's no situation where if it's the north of Zimbabwe, it's only Shona, then the south it's Ndebele. If you
All
have
of
both
the
languages,
languages.
everyone should be taught all of that so we should be able to what? To communicate. But we are fostering competition. We still that tribalistic mindset that govern these policies, and this is the situation where we are at. So I came from a situation where primary school, I went from public, then I went to private, and this private was, we were 4 black kids in that entire school at the time. So, and it was a Muslim school, so I used to know how to Arabic more than my Shona. I used to be able to speak more than the Shona.
Right.
And naturally, and then when it comes to grade 7 exam, they're like, oh no, you should take the Shona exam. I'm like, but you did not, I was not told
So,
all
but
this.
you like we
I'm
were
not prepared
we were
for that.
confusing you this whole time. But
Exactly. And then from private school, went to government school. Bang, Form 1. I'm speaking pure colored accent because that's who I was and I had to.
hectic.
And then
I
it was
can't
like,
imagine that.
and then
What
now,
school did you go to?
yeah, no, we'll talk after. I'll tell you. Then they're like, what?
What's happening?
I'm like, and to me, I'm like, what do you say? Because neighborhood I grew up, Hillside, Brayside, all my friends
Hectic.
colored,
That's cool.
and that's it. Even if they come up right now,
It comes out.
It'll come out naturally.
Right.
And then after that, so I got stigmatized for that. And then it now gave me and like one of those like, and I need to learn the Shona and then the slang, so I get into that and stop the English. Then you moved again to mission school. Now it's the people who want to also speak English a little bit. Then went to a private school where it's now
English.
Again,
full English, and now there's
Right.
those stipulations.
And now they want the
no
nuances.
Shona.
Like they want
exactly.
you to speak real good English.
Good English
Right.
and be etiquette and be all
Right,
gentlemanlike.
right.
And then you're thinking, okay, that's still okay with me. I'm all right with it. But where it was, it's a punishable offense if you speak in another language. Now that got me irked, and I'm like, no, ma'am, I'm going to speak because
What I can speak.
exactly. So don't punish me. And if you do, I'm telling you straight up, I'm not going to do it. And
Yeah.
nah, no, you're not from this school anyway. You're just a passerby. You're not here. You know, things you're not being told that you don't know the heritage or the culture of the school. So this is why you're not taking it seriously. No.
That's when it now becomes a problem.
You see? So, but I've been bouncing through the education system for a while, so it's just easily adaptable to people
Right,
and different
right,
types of work.
right.
So I do not feel inferior like most people will feel inferior to another race. No, we're equal, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing. I think education is not helping. We're not telling all our children or individuals that we're all equal. We're the same.
Right.
Of course, maybe in a normal socioeconomic strata, it's different. But as an individual, when you're a child, come on.
Then you know your rights and you know
you
who you
know
are,
who
you
you
know where
are.
you stand.
You are exactly the same as the person that's next to you, no matter what the color of the skin. And that shouldn't change the way your education is delivered. That doesn't change the way you should learn it. That shouldn't change the way the teachers perceive it.
Yeah.
Because we always have the situation where teachers are trying to change because of situations of another child or who they are, their position, their status, and that we need to cut off. So I'm always coming back to a mindset and a reshuffle. All the teachers that are there right now, we need to rip
Rip them
everything
off.
out, and then infuse the stuff.
I was in the private school like my whole life, primary school all the way up to high school, and like I remember I was such an advocate for that rule. I was like, no, Shauna, like we should be speaking English because like English is the international language and everything. And it was actually only after that debate on Twitter, like I was still like pro. I was like, no, but if it's a private school, guys,
Right.
if you don't want your child, if you don't like the rules of the private school, then go somewhere else.
Right. That's
They
what they'll
are,
tell you.
yeah. But like in the end, I was just like, when someone was like to me, they're like, okay, if you were to go to school in Italy, or even in Essay, my sister went to university in Essay, and the university, I think like half of the lectures were in Afrikaans. Same thing in Germany.
Imagine if you're
Most of
in
the lectures,
Stellenbosch.
yeah.
That's it.
It's
50% of the lectures are in German or whatever the local language is. So then they're like, so in Zim now it must be a different situation. So I was like, okay, I get you. And then they're like, you need to realize something. You're in Zimbabwe. It's not like
Yes.
you're in South Africa and they're telling you don't speak another language because you're with other people from other countries. But this is your national tongue. So they're basically telling you, forget who you are
To issue who
and
you are.
just
Right.
learn, And I was like, okay, when you look at it that way, it
everyday
is
language.
true.
It's easy to communicate.
The jobs I've had 2 jobs that required me to speak fluent Shona because we would do community work. Same thing with my sister. Her job requires her to do community work. But because we were raised speaking English, we went to private schools where,
It
English
became a
is...
struggle, right?
It was now it's a struggle, and like literally it's one of those things where like even
need
like
to learn.
socializing with people like it's hard, and people can even tell like even like Windies from my hood and everything, they know they like the kamsala but like they get like I'm now trying to relearn so that I can do my job better, I can relate to people better. I write music, I want to write music in Shona, but I can't because it was washed out of me.
Right.
They could have
Sad.
done both. I feel like I feel like it's great. Teach us English and teach us Shona, because that's when you look at
Ndebele.
mission. Yeah, all languages,
all languages.
even sign language,
Right.
All
even sign
thank
language.
you.
Nyanja,
All of them should just
Because
be taught.
the thing is, if you look at kids, the ministers, the MPs, the councillors, are the people that went to government schools, mission schools, because they were allowed.
And they can speak.
They can speak everything.
Yeah.
If I decide today that I want to be an MP,
You won't be taken
and I want to be the
seriously.
MP for Murewa,
You won't be taken seriously.
like they'll
speak
just
it.
be like,
They look at you like this privileged girl is coming here to try and speak down to us
And you're
with
like-
her private school education.
Exactly.
What do you know about our situation?
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So it's just it's hectic.
It's sad.
So I get,
right.
yeah, so at the cusp of it, education should change from policy level,
Right.
right from the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Right from the top. All we've talked about right there, right from the top. I'm pretty sure they know some of it, but I am thinking they have not the willpower to actually want to make
Yeah.
these drastic or radical changes
Right.
that are required. It starts from there, it permeates down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even for us, let's start the movement amongst us, our
Right.
peers.
Start the
Start the conversations and let's push those through.
Right. And I think that's the perfect note to end on. I think
Yeah.
that's just like completely the right place to end. I think we can all take from this that education is flawed, but it also has its wins. And yeah, I think that moving forward, it would be great to see things taken from a different approach for the sake of the kids.
Yeah.
Right, and for even adults who are trying to pursue education, because education doesn't end in the classroom;
Yeah.
Nope.
it's in real
Yeah.
life.
Lifelong.
So yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
guys.
you
Thank
so
you. Thank you.
much.
Conversation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and thank you so much for watching. It's been such a good conversation, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.
Yes.
Right. Oh, and thank you so much to Elephant and Pineapple. It's been in the background the whole time.
Yes. Yes.
In case you don't pay attention. Education, okay?
Right. Be attentive. Yes.
But yeah, thank you to Elephant and Pineapple for having us. And yeah, you guys should come through. It's really bomb. Been coming, it's bomb.
Yes.
No, I'm joking. It's my second time.
It is cool. It's got such a cool
Yeah,
vibe and stuff
right,
like that.
right,
so yes.
right.
Thank you so much, guys. Let's keep the conversation going. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure our information is coming up somewhere on the
Right,
screen.
right,
I'm not sure
right.
which side.
What are you doing?
Like,
are you trying to
you know, like-
So, if you have any topics that you'd like us to discuss or anything
Comment
that you'd like to see, hit us in the comment section. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, you can find me at Mukahadzi T on Twitter. And on Facebook, Tafadzwa, Mukahadzi, as it is. But yeah, but catch me on Cappy Talk, probably Saturday mornings from 7:30 to 8.
Yeah.
I'm always giving my talk soon.
And he's also considering starting his own podcast.
Oh yeah.
Education, so
Joe, please have us on.
yes.
It's gonna be different from this one, but it's gonna be nice and
Okay.
so yeah, starting on March. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
so
get you on.
look out for that as well.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
that. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much. Awesome. Cheers. Let's keep doing it.
I never trade you for anybody else.